I've decided to talk about Vincent van Gogh because I think he's one of the most influential characters in the contemporary art. The painting I'm going to describe, for me, is one of the best representing his artistic capability, aimed at reproducing his inner feelings, his emotion, his sensation through colors and their organization on the canvas. For this reason, I think Starry Night is defined as the painting that changed the Western view of art. Currently, the famous art critic put this composition at the top of the most influential 20 painting list, which contribute to changing our artistic view. Van Gogh, differently from Impressionist painters, does not give to his work the impression of a contemporary caption of reality. On the contrary, he tries to represent it in its very dimension, characterized by his trouble, his being aware of his challenged mind, in an attempt to look beyond the painting itself. Actually, this was not an easy task, because it required suffering and a very strong involvement. The composition of the painting itself is very simple. I think it looks like a photo perfectly framed, in which the sky occupies the main part of the scene, while the horizon is settled down. The other part of the composition is made up by few specific elements on which we should have to focus our attention. There is a small village and the nature itself, which could be divided into single units, such as the cypress, the moon, the stars including Venus, and the wavy hills. Apparently, the paint's anthropological and natural elements seems to be in contrast, as they were in a perpetual conflict between the quietness of the small village and the kinetic force of the sky that is constantly in motion. Sky expresses on one hand the physical movement of the universe, while on the other it represents its vastness. It is very dark, and this expresses the distress that people feel when they compare themselves with the nature and realize its overwhelming power. Sky has got a great importance not only on the canvas, but also in Van Gogh's view of the world. The representation of the sky becomes part of the artist's distress. It is an alive entity in perpetual motion, represented by the spiral that generate forms similar to waves. They are directed in the hill's direction, and they are ready to collide with him, violating its momentary and floating peace. Stars are dominant elements. They claim their very autonomy, and in this light, the choice of colors is absolutely determinant. It goes from the brilliant variety of yellow to orange and white. In my point of view, this is foreseeing a deep detachment from the darker background. Light coming from the tormented fireballs and from the lunar crescent weakly illuminates the nightly village settled in a valley. And this maybe could just be a transfiguration of his birth village, dominated by the cusp of a typical Dutch lanceolate bell. On the right one observes the cypress, his obsession. It balances the composition and is painted like flames that move violently from the dark side, differently from the real trees. In the planetary delirium, the elements prolong in the space their liquid and changing forms, which are solidified in a sort of precarious stability. The Earth's wave swings, falls and explodes against the crumbled rock of our normality. Following one of his old obsessions, the painter went on to represent cypress in a starry night, and doing so I think he felt absolutely free and in a state of mind in which colors and shapes could heal his deep and neurotic anxiety. In the end, I dare say that Starry Night is actually consistent with the reality we live today.